San Diego Humane Society core values and volunteer impact. This training will give you an inside look into the mission and culture at SDHS to help you decide if volunteering with us is the right fit for you. So why do volunteers choose to serve at SDHS? It's a great way to support your community, be surrounded by others who are passionate about animals, have an impact on a nationally known organization, and learn and grow as you serve. It's an amazing group of people that you can join, and we're so excited for you to start your journey. Inspire compassion. It's not just a motto, it's a way of life, our guiding mission and the standard to which we uphold all SDHS teammates. Our vision at SDHS is a more compassionate world, and our mission is to create a more humane world by inspiring compassion, providing hope, and advancing the welfare of animals and people. We ask those interested in serving at SDHS that you're aligned with these values and mission when deciding if this is the right fit for you. Every animal welfare organization has their focus and priorities, and as a volunteer, it is the best fit when your passion aligns with the organization's. As an SDHS volunteer, your service will support both people and animals. We are proud to have a culture of care here and support the pet owners of our community just as much as the animals. At the Humane Society, we have 5 core values guiding our work. The first is compassion. We strive to understand and appreciate the feelings and needs of our colleagues and guests and see through the eyes of one another. We drop judgment and we value, thank, and appreciate our teammates. We commit to our mission and passion about being here. Volunteers like Linda support this core value by serving in our pet pantry, where we provide free food and supplies to pet owners in need. They tell us they need help, and we're here to support. By doing so, we're helping keep that family together and keep that pet out of the shelter. So what do you think? Are you ready to support pet owners in need? Our next value is courage. We try new things even if they scare us, and we respectfully share input even if it might be contrary to current practices. We learn from mistakes and we question actions inconsistent with our values. It takes courage to be a volunteer at a shelter, and that's why we're so thankful for volunteers like Nora who join our team and try new things. When volunteers support the various teams at SDHS, they get to learn and grow. Even if you've volunteered in this field before, there's always new things to learn. We also love when our volunteers provide feedback to help us improve how we care for our animals. The staff here is highly trained and you will learn so much from them, but we're also always open to your questions and suggestions to help us continue to improve our organization. So are you ready to try new things? Impact. We recognize that we're part of a team in the animal welfare movement that supports people and animals. We remove barriers and help others, and we train in our role and continue to learn so that we can have a big impact. We also ask how we can increase our impact each day. Foster volunteer Teresa increased her impact by training to be a specialized behavior foster. She now cares for shelter dogs with behavior modification plans. By learning what these dogs need and how to manage their behaviors, she can now focus her service and skills on these types of foster assignments, which are often hard to find foster homes for. When out of the shelter and in a home, these dogs have a better chance at changing their behavior and getting adopted. Are you ready to learn, grow, and train in new areas so you can help where the need is the greatest too? Inclusion. We create and support a welcoming and inclusive environment and embrace differences and offer respect in words and actions for all people. We strive to identify and eliminate barriers to full participation to allow equal access to opportunities and resources. We expand understanding of issues of diversity, equity, inclusion, and social justice, and willingly take meaningful action. And we advocate for people and systems that are anti-racist and anti-discriminatory, and speak out against injustice. In an effort to remove barriers and allow equal access to our resources, we bring our pet services into our community. Volunteers like Sarah help at these events, providing pet owners with supplies, medical services, or training resources. As a volunteer, there are so many ways that you can support the community. Whether we're assisting guests at the shelter or in the community, volunteers and staff are always welcoming and supportive, dropping any judgment so we can help that pet owner care for their pet. So are you ready to help all pet owners feel welcomed and supported? And our last core value is integrity. We can always be counted on to do the right thing. We lead by example with honesty and accountability, take ownership and follow through, and earn respect of our teammates by treating everyone with respect. Volunteers like Mark serve with integrity on our emergency response team, where they assist animals and pet owners during disaster. During these deployments, the team must have full trust and respect for one another as they are in dangerous situations. Every team member plays a critical role. This is the same philosophy on every volunteer team. Even the simple task of cleaning kennels in the morning requires teamwork, trust, and respect as you quickly and safely clean before we open our doors. So, are you ready to be an important member of the SDHS team? Here's some additional information to help you decide if SDHS is the right volunteer fit for you. Our volunteers are required to be able to access email and our volunteer database. Since our volunteer team is large, all communication is sent via email. Volunteers are required to pre-schedule all shifts online, and many of our learning requirements are completed online as well. This work can be done at home remotely from your computer or phone, or it can be done on site if you book computer time. Additionally, all volunteer hours are tracked electronically, either on site at a time clock or through your mobile phone. Positive reinforcement training is the technique used at SDHS. This method uses rewards, such as treats, to reinforce desired behaviors rather than punishment to deter unwanted behavior. This technique works here since animals are under stress when in the shelter, and we want to create a positive environment to build trust and reduce that stress. Basic training for this technique is provided, and additional advanced training is available and encouraged. We even offer the industry fear-free learning module absolutely free to volunteers. There are some physical requirements and risks when it comes to working around animals. For each volunteer team or activity you want to join, you should look at the risks of the work and assess if it's the right fit for you. The majority of the work to support the organization is physical, whether you're working with companion animals or wildlife, with disaster relief or in the warehouse, or even helping guests. You will be on your feet, moving supplies, and moving about the shelter or buildings. Most activities require our volunteers to be able to lift, carry, and stand for the majority of the shift. There are some activities that are less physical and could be performed sitting down, and any accommodation requests can always be discussed and considered with our team. So if you have any questions or concerns about your service, please contact the volunteer team to talk through the options. Anytime you work around animals, there is risk of injury, scratches, or bites. It is important for our volunteers to understand that these animals do not act like pets do when at home, so we have to be careful and focused when volunteering. This is also why we require additional step-up recruitment and training prior to volunteering hands-on with the animals. And even when serving around animals, there's still a risk. We have a Safety 101 training provided to all new volunteers that's designed to provide you with basic safety rules and tips to follow when working in the shelter. Lastly, volunteers may be exposed to contagious disease when volunteering around animals, especially if in the shelter or the hospital. Disease prevention measures are always in place, but it's important to evaluate your health and the health of your personal pets before signing up for this type of work. We often hear from those considering becoming a volunteer that they're worried it may be too sad. While there are certainly emotionally challenging aspects in every type of animal welfare work, we find that the joy and fulfillment our volunteers experience from their service far outweighs those hard days. That said, there certainly will be days in your volunteer career that are more difficult than others, so it's important to remember that volunteer engagement is here to help. From learning about an animal who had to be humanely euthanized to witnessing a distraught guest in need, our volunteer team has persevered through it all and has endless advice and resources available to assist you in doing the same. This field is not for everyone, but if you're worried that your heart is too soft for this work, please think again. That inherent compassion for people and animals you have, it's a gift, and the community we serve needs it now more than ever. Since this work can be emotional, there is a risk of experiencing something called compassion fatigue if we're not careful and conscious of the amount of energy and time we're putting into the work. Compassion fatigue is a common condition in many caregiving industries. It is the stress that a caregiver feels as a result of helping others under stress or trauma. Injured animals, homeless pets, and pet owners facing relinquishment are all stressful experiences that you will encounter. Our goal is for our volunteers to find balance so they do not fall into compassion fatigue. When deciding if this work is right for you, it's crucial to evaluate if you're in a place in your life right now to take on this extra caregiving service to others. It is also important to make the promise to yourself to find balance between your time volunteering and your other personal work and hobbies. Lastly, it's important that when you're serving to be in the right mindset to do this type of work and not worry about all the things you can't control. Jessica Dolce, a coach and educator in compassion fatigue, shares these tips to help find this balance. Focus on the big picture and all the great work and progress we make, and also be sure to enjoy the small moments. Accept that we all have limits and cannot be here every single day or help every single animal, but still show up to support your community the best way you can. Work hard to help care for the animals and support pet owners, but when they leave our care, let go and assume the best for their future. They can always come back to us if they need more help. And lastly, have compassion, but also embrace detachment. When you're not volunteering, don't worry about the animals. Make sure that you take a real break so that when you come back for your next shift, you're refreshed, you're happy, and you're ready to serve. When bringing animal lovers together, we look for people who can recognize and accept that this is tough work. The right animal lovers for this work are able to balance these emotions and know when to take a break. So, when joining our team, volunteers understand and agree to a few expectations. The first is to be compassionate. Our volunteers embody the values of our organization through empathy for others. That's for guests, staff, fellow volunteers, and our animals. Our volunteers appreciate perspectives and situations that differ from their own and are compassionate in actions and their approach to challenging situations. Our volunteers believe in the positive intent and actions of their fellow teammates. Contributing to an environment of respect for individual skills, ideas, and actions helps the team succeed. Volunteers are optimistic for the future of our organization and the individuals and animals we serve. Our volunteers embrace the diversity within our organization and are inclusive. They believe in opportunities that provide equal access to resources for all the people in our community. We work with a variety of people and animals, so it's important to have an open mind to understand every individual situation and needs. We commit to doing what is best for every pet owner or person in that moment. Our volunteers are adaptable, which is very important. We embrace constant change and growth. Through contributions of ideas, solutions, constructive feedback, and flexibility, volunteers are part of our innovation and creative process required when faced with the ever-changing needs of sheltering and animal welfare. And our volunteers are always ready to learn because there's always something new to learn in animal welfare. Part of being an SHS teammate is being a forever student. Even after many years of service, we want to continue to improve our skills and be the most successful teammate we can be. Volunteers who train to step up to additional roles commit to continue to assist in every activity they're trained for. When a need arises, they pitch in where they're most needed. And when volunteers have questions about processes, animals, or even philosophy at SDHS, they come to the volunteer engagement team ready to have an open discussion and learn the why behind decisions. And lastly, SDHS volunteers commit to always being an ambassador in your community. Even when you're not officially serving in your volunteer activity, you can spread our message, help your neighbors through social media or through in-person interactions. Let them know that we're here to support them and provide them whatever they need to help their pet. In return to these commitments made by our volunteers, the SHS staff makes this commitment to you. We commit to having well-designed, impactful jobs with training and resources to help you succeed. We commit to having accommodations for individuals with disabilities and have open discussions about how you can serve at our organization. We commit to diversity, equity, and inclusion in our volunteer team. And lastly, we commit to that learning environment. We'll train you, coach you, help you continue to grow and learn throughout your career at SDHS. So what do you think? Are you ready to be an SDHS volunteer? Our goal is to provide impactful service for compassionate hearts, and we hope we sound like the right fit for you. If you have any questions about our mission, philosophy, or expectations for volunteers, please reach out and we can discuss them further. Thank you so much for considering San Diego Humane Society as your next volunteer home.